Okay, thank you very much. Welcome everybody to the Mendip offices for a licensing hearing. We'll go around and briefly introduce ourselves so that you'll know who we are. You don't have to introduce yourselves oh dear, lost in the gallery or whatever you want to. Yes, in the 1 and 3s. Okay, so if we'll start with you. We won't start with Debbie because she's just gone. We'll start with you. Microphone.
Failed already. Beg your pardon, everyone. Morning. My name's Alan Weldon. I'm in the licensing team at Somerset Council.
Good morning. Olivia Dennis, Licensing Officer for Somerset Council.
Good morning, everyone. Luke Hall, Assistant Legal Advisor for Somerset Council.
Good morning, Anne Chislett, Legal Advisor, Somerset Council.
Good morning, Debbie Widows. I'm minuting the meeting today, Democratic Services Officer.
There's 3 of us on the subcommittee, one of which is online, who I'll get to introduce himself. My name's Simon Carswell. I'm a Somerset Councillor for Street.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marcus Cravis. I'm a Somerset Councillor for Dunster Division.
Tony, would you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name's Councillor Tony Robbins. I'm a councillor for Mendip Hills.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the first thing we've got to do is appoint a chair for the subcommittee. Marcus has proposed me. Do you want to second that, Tony, or do you want to put yourself forward?
I second your nomination.
Thank you. It's a bit of a kangaroo election there, I think. But anyway, so I'll chair the meeting. Any apologies for absence?
No.
Any declarations of interest?
No.
Thank you. Minutes of the previous subcommittee held on the 13th of December 2023. This is to authorise the chair of the meeting to agree the accuracy and sign the minutes as a correct record following circulation to the members of the subcommittee. Are all members of the subcommittee happy that I sign those minutes?
Yep.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll go on to the procedure that we'll follow today. Just to let everyone know, you everybody's registered to speak, will get a chance to speak, and if there is somebody who wants to speak on the behalf of the rest of the people, they are welcome to. But please don't try, be grateful for non-repetition of the same arguments. If you could all put your phones to silent, that would be brilliant. Right. Okay, that's all I want to say. Is there anything else I should be saying there, Debbie? That's fine, isn't it? Okay, let's go then. So we'll go. What we do, we go through, and the format of the meeting is the licensing officer will present a report. Then any party can ask questions of the licensing officer. We'll go in order. Any responsible authorities can present their case and call any witnesses. That would be the police, fire, people like that, environmental health. Then other persons, which is yourselves, can present your case and in turn call any witnesses, and then we can question you about your case. And then the applicant will present their case and call any witnesses, and then we can all question the applicant. Normally the subcommittee would question them first, but then you're welcome to. If you do want to speak, if you can come up to the microphone and you press the speaker button when I say you can speak. And also when you're doing your presentation, if you could limit it to 3 minutes-ish. I'm not going to put you on a timer, but 3 minutes doesn't sound very long, but it's usually long enough to say what you want to say. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll get started then. Can the licensing officer present their report, please?
Thank you, Chair. This licensing subcommittee is for the consideration of an application for a premises licence in respect of UK off-licence. The premises is located on the High Street in Frome. It will predominantly be a convenience store to supply convenience types goods as well as alcohol. The applicant has applied for a premises licence in order to sell the alcohol as an off-licence, and a copy of the application is at Appendix 1. and a copy of the plan for the premises is at Appendix 2. The applicant had applied for the following: supply of alcohol on the off the premises Monday to Sunday, 11 a.m. until 0400 hours, and hours premises are open to the public Monday to Sunday, 6 a.m. until 0400 hours a.m. During the representation period, 34 representations were received from other persons. The representations were deemed valid as they were relevant to at least one or more of the 4 licensing objectives. A summary of the representations received can be found at Appendix 3. A plan showing the radius area where a large proportion of the representations were received can be seen at Appendix 4. During the representation period, the licensing officer for Avon and Somerset Constabulary spoke with the applicant and agreed the following amendments to the timings of the original application. The hours were amended to read supply of alcohol Monday to Sunday from 11 a.m. until 11 p.m. and for the opening hours to be Monday to Sunday, 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. Conditions were also agreed between the applicant and the police, and they can be found at Appendix 5. Following the amendments to the hours and for the additional conditions, 9 representations from other persons were withdrawn. The police did not make a representation as the change of the hours and the additional conditions were agreed, and no representations were received from any other relevant authority in relation to this application. There is also in the pack a map showing the location of the premises, and that is at Appendix 6. And that concludes my report, Chair.
Thank you very much. We'll start off with members of the licensing subcommittee if they wish to ask any questions. Marcus?
Thank you. Thank you. Quite clear report. I suppose my two obvious questions, I suppose, are the conditions were dealt with by the police and not by the licensing team. I assume. I just want to clarify that. So that was that negotiation, for want of a better word, was, well, actually probably is the right word, was done by the police. And secondly, just to clarify, the initial idea was for the convenience store to be open from 6 a.m. to 4 a.m. But now they've agreed to the closing time of the convenience store. So that's for the sale of stuff that isn't just alcohol, will now be 11 p.m.
Yes, so the proposed conditions were agreed between the applicant and the police during the representation period. And yes, the hours for opening of the premises have been pulled back to 6 a.m. until 11 p.m.
Just from the point of this committee, and just for clarity for the members and everybody in the room, are we, from a licensing condition point of view, is the actual shop opening hours when they're not licensed to sell alcohol relevant to this committee? So are we entitled to put condition on what time they close, even though they're not selling alcohol in that time?
So I believe I've looked to legal because I believe that would be more of a planning issue with regards to opening hours. Obviously, we are looking at the hours that the licensable activities take place. If you want to confirm that, legal.
That's correct. It's just the licensable activities that you're looking at.
Tony, do you have any questions?
Not at present. Marcus has covered what I was going to ask.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I think the main point to draw out there is that after discussions with the applicant, the hours have been brought in effect. So where they were going to be until 4 a.m. in the morning, they've now been drawn back to 11 p.m. closing. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any questions of the licensing officer? I will go to the applicant first, who I didn't ask to introduce themselves. That's EUP. No, and do you have any questions, Paul? And I believe you got legal representation online. Is that Emily?
Yes. Push the button until
Yes.
it turns green.
Yeah.
Okay, so Emily, do you have any questions of the licensing officer?
No, I don't have any questions.
Thank you very much. Do any members of the public have any questions of the licensing officer? No? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for the report. I believe there are no responsible authorities present or wishing to put any representations.
No, that's correct, Chair.
Thank you. So we'll go on to other persons. Other persons will present their case in turn and call any witnesses. So we've got down, we'll go through the list of speakers who've already applied to speak first. I don't think all of them are here, but is Jennifer Mackay here? Would you like to speak, Jennifer? If you come up, sit on the chair, it's no to be intimidated. I'm a very affable chap. And if you just press the mic button to speak.
Thank you. Hi, so I'm Jennifer Mackay. I own the flat directly above the applicant's proposed off-licence convenience store. Obviously, I have concerns as I let the flat, but also I have family in the area. My objections are as follow: that I think to grant an off-licence directly below residential premises next to a historic church with several open areas, particularly sort of the grassy mounds to the right of my property, are poorly lit and present a significant crime and disorder opportunity with regard to alcohol abuse, affray and potential drug dealing. The churchyard is already a hangout for people drinking, and it's a cut through for residents as well. So there is a concern about the purchase of alcohol from that property. That's very good. We also, the flat I own is in a mixed residential commercial zone. I think residents have the right to peaceful enjoyment in the area, and that is in danger. The premises is directly adjacent to a very busy road, and both motorists and pedestrians would be negatively impacted. It would be used by people who want to drop off or pick up alcohol late at night, and there's no parking there. And I know the concern is also with using the church car park when that shouldn't be used either. The associated noise and potential street drinking, when already there are other Bath Arms and other venues at late night, could also be a cause for concern and adding to the noise at that side of town, and then threatens the character of Frome and the families who reside in it and who visit it, and also the potential hazardous littering. And again, I've got first-hand knowledge of cases where it's not been particularly hygienic, and I have concerns for my tenant, but also those who live and work in the area. There is also, from what I understand, a poor police presence in Frome at the best of times, and the whole list of conditions agreed with the applicant and the police is in itself a cause for concern, that you'd have to have the surveillance system, obviously staff training, incident logs, alcohol drinks to be clearly labelled, the whole list of positions. I would rather it be something that is not going to be a problem long term, but we nip it in the bud before it starts. I think that, I'm not saying it very clearly, I'm sorry, but I just think it's a concern with all these provisions need to be in place. They are thinking there is going to be a problem further down the line.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Can I call you Jennifer? I've made notes what I said. Yes, you were very clear.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's sort of a bit of a jumble.
Don't worry that you felt that it didn't go well. It went very well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
We've got down, but I don't believe they're here, Tom Revington or Rowan James. No, so we'll move on to Mark Dorrington, who I believe.
Hi, sorry. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hi there. I'm just dialing in via the
right.
video call.
Okay, sorry. Rowan, would you like to speak?
I know you did mention not. Hello, yeah, you did mention not repeating anything, but I would just echo what the previous lady just said. Given that I am the other owner of the flat, so I own the top 2 floors of 8 Bath Street, and whilst I don't have evidence, I have seen people drug dealing next to the flat already, behind the pillar where the gate used to be. Now, this is obviously more than just circumstantial, so I'm very wary that we obviously don't want this to continue in Frome. And I know other people have evidence of antisocial behaviour through drinking in the nearby area. But yeah, as I say, sadly do not have evidence, but I have seen it with my own eyes. And the presence of alcohol is obviously going to exacerbate the problem. And then there's all the other points I'm sure everyone else is going to raise in a minute, or potentially contribute to this application, which I don't think is in the best interest of Frome as a whole, for local residents or the entire town, if I'm honest. As we mentioned, the Bath Arms is a problem already. The police are understaffed. There's a kebab shop next door, which leaves people late on the street, parking outside on the pavement without where they shouldn't be, quite frankly, on a main road. So I'm very concerned, and I hope this can be. I'm fine seeing this kind of store there, but an alcohol license is obviously a problem, and I'm very against that. That's all from me.
Thank you, Rowan. When people online are speaking, sorry, Rowan, it's a bit late for you, but if you could put your camera on it, we'll be able to see you. And
hello.
Obviously, I haven't got your pajamas on. Oh, okay. No, you're okay, right?
Sorry,
Good.
I forgot to do that. Yeah,
that's all right. No problem at all. We now will go to Mark Dorrington. Thank you, Mark. I believe you're Frome Town Councillor.
Morning, Chair. Morning, councillors. I'm Mark Dorrington, Frome Town Councillor for the Market Ward, the ward in which these premises sit. Thank you for allowing me to address the meeting, and also thanks to Olivia for the assistance she's given me in how to prepare for this meeting, in a purely independent way of doing it with no side. Thank you very much. Since this application was received, I've been approached by many residents expressing their dismay at the scope of the application. Many of those residents submitted that representations, as some are here today, but many more did not, but have asked for their concerns to be heard. The potential change of use from a lighting shop to licensed premises, originally to be open until 4 AM every day of the year, caused them understandable distress. The reduction of hours agreed with the police to ensure closure at 11 PM has done little to allay their concerns. So we have the 4 areas of objections: to prevent crime and disorder. The kebab shop next door, owned by the applicant, already has to employ door staff to manage late night potential disorder. It can be seen this would only be exacerbated by the provision of alcohol next door. It is likely that Somerset Council, due to their financial position, will have to remove the CCTV provision in the centre of our town. And unfortunately, this will reduce any further deterrent. Public safety. The customers of the kebab shop already spill into the busy street outside. Cars are always parked outside during their opening hours, and pedestrians crossing the road are unsighted. Again, this will only increase if this licence is allowed. Public nuisance. These premises abut a churchyard of St John's Church and is already known for public nuisance, i.e. drinking and drug taking at all hours. The churchyard in turn is surrounded by houses which already suffer from this behaviour. The provision of alcohol so close to the churchyard will only add to this. I have examples elsewhere in the ward where the provision of alcohol and an increase in public nuisance go hand in hand, but I'm told that I'm not allowed to use these today. Harm to children. The churchyard is a thoroughfare for all residents, and especially for children and parents accessing St John's First School nearby. Bath Street itself is a through route for older children accessing Frome College, and the increased availability of alcohol could encourage underage drinking. There is no need for another establishment selling alcohol in the town centre. There are 3 other stores selling alcohol within 400 metres, none of which stay open after 8 p.m. There's no need for later opening than that. And therefore, I urge you to not deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Does anybody else wish to say anything from the, you're quite welcome to. No? Yes, sir. That's all right. We'll, if you'd like to come up to the microphone and turn it on, that'd be fine. You'd introduce yourself as well.
I'm particularly concerned about, oh, sorry, I'm Jill White. I've lived in Frome for 50 years and my husband was born in Frome. I'm particularly concerned about the facility of drinking being very available for both for young people. Frome College has a lot of disruption at the moment. It has drugs within the school, it has alcohol within the school. I think a facility like this that makes it so available is going to be very harmful for young people. I'm also concerned about domestic abuse. And we know that there's a link between drinking and domestic abuse. And we're trying very hard to keep Frome, to help people in Frome to have a good social grouping and so on. And I just cannot see how an alcohol license to 11 o'clock is going to contribute at any level. Frome is a very buoyant town, and it has a lot of visitors. It relies a lot on tourism, and I think we really have to be mindful of how the town, what enhances the town and what doesn't enhance the town. There aren't many towns as buoyant as Frome, and it's because of the culture in Frome and so on. So I just felt very strongly that I do not see how this enhances any area of life. And it's a mixed resident. It's what we all want, is people living in towns, them not becoming ghettos. This is not going to contribute to a good mixed, living and working environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you.
Did anybody else want to speak? Yes, sir. You introduce yourself as well.
Chairman, can I just say, obviously, with any objections, you should be obviously saying what it's concerned for you, that if this licence, not for the whole of the community, because obviously it's for other people to speak for themselves. So, okay.
Thank you. My name's Freddie Rostans. Like many of the people here, I live around by Ayub's kebab shop. I'd like to say, first of all, it's important you understand the geography of this thing. Do any of you know the shape of the geography of where this is happening?
I can honestly, I worked in Frome for 3 years in the children's centre, and I often visited the centre of Frome, so I am aware of the church you're talking about.
Great, okay.
I'm not saying every member of the subcommittee is, but I am.
Well, if we make up a little plan sort of thing, where the gentleman is over there on the corner, let's say that's where the high street comes down there, that's where the kebab shop is. This is the churchyard, I'm the church. Ayub would be, say, Gentle Street, going up where these people live, and I live where Mr. Kravis is, right there. Now, Ayub, and great credit to him, he works very hard and runs a very successful kebab shop. And that is permitted to open until about 3, I think, is it, or 4 o'clock in the morning, Fridays and Saturdays. And as soon as the pubs shut, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock on the weekend, this is where they all gather, right here. There's a fountain there, there's a churchyard there, and this is where it kicks off. And they have beatboxes. Of course, there's music, there's noise, there's shouting, because they all gather for the kebabs. They all come and sit round there, and this is where all the merrymaking takes place. And it's hell. The noise is phenomenal that comes from them. There's nothing you can do about it. And the idea of adding alcohol into that mix is just terrifying. It's there are reasons of public safety going through that area. It is a major thoroughfare where all this kicks off. Now, you know, I like Ayoub very much, and I wish him every success. And I think a convenience store is a fantastic idea. I just think alcohol is napalm into this situation, because the young people of Frome have nowhere else to go. So this is where they gather. I've come out of my house at times in mornings and seen, you know, I've seen it cordoned off with blood all over in front of the church. You know, a lot goes on the weekends where this happens. And so a convenience store, fantastic. Alcohol is just a no-no. It's not safe for the public. It's unsafe. We're unable to enjoy the right to a peaceful living, to be able to sleep quietly on a Friday and Saturday night, because of everything that goes on there. And you know, for children, of course, it's not safe either to walk up and down there as they do, because there's an awful lot that goes on. It's party central, and the idea of alcohol in front of our most religious building in Frome, the great icon, turning into this sort of alcohol-fueled party is extremely ironic, shall we say? And I think we just don't think alcohol is a good idea to throw into this mix at all. We've got the bar farms just over there where they all come out into the thing. So there's already an issue of where they're getting tanked up, the young people, and it's a great space to socialise in front of the church. It's perfect. So just please don't put fuel onto the fire.
Thank you very much. I'll call you Freddie rather than Mr. Ross, as I called the ladies their first name. And if Marcus was, what was Marcus? What am I? You're the church, right?
I was his flat.
You're his flat. What am I?
Grassy Mount.
Thank you very much. Okay, super. Great. Thank you. Is there anybody online wishes to ask a question or speak, apart from the gentleman who's already spoken? No, I'll ask if the applicant has any questions of the public speakers. No? Okay. Okay, thank you very much all for your input. We'll now go on to the applicant to speak. That's Ayoub.
Yeah. My name is Ayoub. Yeah. Due respect for my neighbor and to Baba and everyone here in the room. Hi, I do respect for everyone in this room and my neighbor. I just try to make enough license, no one gonna drink alcohol, try to make it cut to actually people drinking more than pub and early going, taking drink and going home instead of gonna waiting to which is like 12 o'clock too, and I grab the bottle and I go to home drinking and I'm making more hours because 11 o'clock is, I don't think so, is not that late, Friday and Saturday. That is my plan for I really want to try to look after town, deal with the all drink people in the late night. I feed the people. I try to making people grabbing bottle wine or couple beer and I take in earlier, go home. That's it. Nothing else.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you wish to say anything, or you just bring the microphone close to you and switch on? Thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Paul. I'm here to support the applicant. We had quite a few conversations about it, and I fully support everything you say. It's really important that everyone has their opinion and that everyone lives happily together, because I've lived in and around Frome all my life, and I totally understand that. I also work in the nightlife in Frome as well. I do some security on some of the premises. The main issue here seems to be the alcohol rather than people popping in, because the nightlife in Frome, including the pubs, the security, they also do. The only two places in Frome that you can go to after a certain time at each end of Frome, well away from the town centre. So sometimes having a convenience store in the town centre just for the basics is actually called for in my belief. I mean, the amount of times I do security and people ask me where's the nearest place I can grab this late at night, which is important to them, and I've got to send them out of town almost. As for the alcohol side of it, I totally understand that obviously everyone has their concerns. The pubs around, including number 23, finish 3 in the morning. The premises will be closed 4 hours before this. So the bulk, I would say probably 90% of everyone that comes out the pubs will come out the pubs hours after the premises is closed. So I don't think it'll have a detrimental effect on people hanging around at 11 o'clock. In my experience, most people don't even come into town nowadays until 11 o'clock to start drinking. It's just the culture's totally changed as well. But I do totally understand that you well within your right to voice concerns, but the alcohol that's going to be sold as well is not going to be single cans. It's not going to be someone popping in and get a can and slugging it outside. It's going to be multi-packs, and it's going to be stuff like that is going to be taken away. So it's not going to be like convenient single cans as well. So in my view, I totally understand that the residents have totally got the case to defend themselves. I totally understand that as well. But I also believe that with the premises closing at 11, well before any of the actual pubs start coming out, and I know there's been a lot brought up about the actual kebab shop itself, but also, I mean, people need to come out. It's just a standard thing. People come out, they get a kebab and they go home. Someone has to supply that, and I think that the applicant actually supplies that very professionally.
Thank you very much. I didn't know if your legal representative wanted to ask anything, speak on your behalf. Emily, did you wish to speak?
I just want to add that we recognize the importance of working with the community. Therefore, we adjusted the opening hours. We modified opening hours to minimize.
Could you put your camera on, Emily? Is that possible?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So we therefore we modified the opening hours to minimize any potential impact on the community. And we are also implementing highly security measures, which includes regular training for staff members on Licensing Act, and also managing difficult customers, and also drug use, as well as a CCTV system to address any antisocial behavior at the area. Addition to this, we also agreed the condition to work with the local community and to be a member of Shop Watch to collaborate on maintaining a safe environment. And also we agreed a condition that says no single cans of beer, lager or cider shall be available. So nobody can buy single cans at the premise. We also believe that the condition agreed with the police and coupled with the reduction in opening hours effectively addresses and mitigate the concerns raised during this process. And additionally, it was also mentioned, but pubs, objections mentioned that pubs close after 11, people leave the pubs after 11 to midnight. Where at this time the premise will be closed, so there won't be any additional cumulative impact on the area. We are open to discuss any further conditions proposed, and we are happy to address any specific concerns raised by objectors.
Thank you very much. If that's right, we'll move on to questions now. We'll start with the subcommittee. I've got a few, but no doubt Marcus will. Tony, have you got any questions?
I haven't, Chair, not at
Can
this
you put your
time.
camera on, Tony, or not?
I haven't got any questions at present, Chair, thank you.
Oh, you didn't need to put your camera on for that, Tony. Marcus, no, you go first.
So just to clarify, we're just asking questions here of the applicant, or no, because we haven't done of the other people yet. So, so what I'll do is I'll ask a couple of questions of the applicant that sort of will maybe answer some of those questions that I've got of the people who've given representations. So I'm right in saying that you run the kebab shop next door?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And that's got 4 o'clock. You're allowed to open till 4 o'clock there?
I stay to 3 o'clock, but I have license to 3. I stay
and I suppose you open till 3 o'clock because the pubs chuck out on a Friday and Saturday night later, being small town.
But I have license, but not stay to 4 o'clock.
With regard to, obviously, there's a lot spoken about public and what was going on in front of the church in the evenings. Now, what I don't know, and what I'd like to ask is, well, what I'd like to ask somewhere was whether that went on before the kebab shop opened or not, but whether that's strictly relevant. So my question to you is, have you ever had any complaints from the police about your operation late at night?
Excuse me, it isn't about the kebab shop.
No, I'm more looking at what's being said so far from, I'm looking at what's being said so far from the other people about the specific of the areas. So that's why I'm trying to see what incidents I have. If you can give me a little bit of leeway. So have you ever had, because this is about you as operating as well as the license.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any complaints from the police late at night?
No, we have a CCTV, I have security. And if something happen after drunk people fighting in outside and road, I try to make it sorted issues. Just telling I ask selling food, I'm not selling to now I'm selling food, and I deal with the drunk people, but I try to keep in town quiet, because food as well is people, if no finding food, something to eat, I'll be aggressive. I just feed people.
Yeah, thank you for that. It was just more, trying to get to grips with what's, because I've seen the location. I see, you see the church. So my question then of the applicant, because is you look at your conditions, and that's why it's good to see that you work with the licensed team and the police.
Yeah. I'm a member of Pub Watch. Every month going Pub Watch. Pub Watch, the people with the late license, and everyone, all premises license in Frome have it once in a month Pub Watch in Archangel, and already registered already in Pub Watch meet. Keeping, I know troublemakers, I know people in Frome, already 7 years in Frome.
Thank you. I mean, that's great. Of course, we're issuing a premises license here, and obviously that might then get transferred. You might suddenly decide to, I don't know, move to Minehead, for instance. So you might, so it's, although I can understand that, I'm looking at, we're granting a license for the premises here. So that's what I'm trying to look at. And the conditions, things like, I mean, I've got a condition here where you repair or replace the equipment within 24 hours. Are you happy with that condition with the CCTV equipment? That you're given 24 hours to repair, and if not, you could be in breach of your license? Are you happy with that condition?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And the other thing is, you got here, refusals register must be maintained at the premises whereby all challenges are recorded. So for instance, when you're running your convenience store and you refuse, you ask, not just according to the way this is worded, and this is, I want to make sure that you understand that, that this will be, you're adamant you can do this. A refusals register shall be maintained at the premises whereby all challenges are recorded. So even if I come in looking as young as I do, and you challenge me, technically the way that is worded, you should record that. So anybody who comes in now, I want to make sure you understand that, because that could be quite onerous.
Yeah, I'm just confused. I mean, they've been agreed, so there's no need to go through the conditions. The applicant has agreed all those conditions. So it would have been explained to them as he went through with them.
I just want to make sure he was aware and that he understands that that could be quite onerous and he's understands what he's taking on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working very closely with the applicant. Myself, I've got a license. I've owned pubs. I've owned a brewery. I've explained everything to him. I've gone through all his needs. We've already gone through all the paperwork, the files that are needed, the procedures needed, the challenge 25 that's needed. We've gone through every single scenario with a fine-tooth comb, and I will be helping him as well. Even though I'm not the applicant, I'm next to the business, it's fine. I will be on site with him, helping him, making sure that everything's in its place, and the staff are trained, and the designated premises supervisors fully up to scratch. So everything will be in place.
Thank you. That's appreciated knowing that.
Okay, thank you very much, Marcus. What I wanted to ask, just a general question, what is the present use of the premises?
Can you possible to repeat me back? What?
Sorry, what are the premises where the convenience store is going to be? What is it at the moment?
Moment is like a heavy building site still progressing to making off license, still working on it.
So there's nothing there at the moment.
Nothing
it's being built. Mark, do you want to?
Nothing. Light.
Thank you very much. Just on, hold on a minute. Surveillance system. I'll probably be challenged by the legal officer. But on challenge 25, you're aware you are totally aware that obviously you've got to write down refusals, but you also got to write down the challenges as well. So if you challenge somebody, even if my understanding is you have to.
Yeah,
you record, but they know that anyway. Okay. Good. Okay. And what I want to ask, which is probably for the legal question, is single cans enforceable? I wouldn't have thought so, but.
So what do you mean? I mean, if they're not.
Well, we were told they were only going to sell 6 cans, 12 cans, and they said they won't sell single cans.
License, they can sell whatever they like. It's granted.
Yes.
So if you look at condition number 9, it's a condition of the licence that they are not allowed to sell single cans of beer, lager or cider. So they won't be able to sell a single can to somebody.
Okay, thank you very much. Probably outside the remit, but will you be selling vapes as well?
I heard for the wave 6 months already left. I probably.
Thank you.
Yes, 6 months already left. Time for the 6 months have to not allowed to sell vapes in I heard that. I'm not sure as well.
I shouldn't have asked that anyway. So, even Smiths are selling vapes now. Right, Marcus, you've got some more questions?
There's more for the other. There's more.
It seems I omitted, I thought I did, but it seems Marcus thinks I didn't allow questions of the public. I think I did say, does anybody have any questions about it? Anyway, Marcus has a question of the public, so just.
I don't know who. Hi there, thanks for coming, or thank you for speaking. Thanks, although I think I would prefer to be the church rather than the flat.
So would it be better to finish off with the applicant and then maybe go back to the.
Okay.
Because obviously we're halfway through.
Okay.
Questions.
Do you have any more questions? Yeah. Neither do I.
No.
No. Okay. So we'll go back to you again, Marcus. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know quite how I'm going to do this because obviously you've all gone back and sat down. So I don't know whether you want to someone wants to volunteer to field the questions. You'll volunteer, will you?
Yeah, we'll get a chance to ask the applicant question.
No. Have we?
So I understand that you didn't make a representation previously, did you? Right, yeah, we shouldn't have heard, I didn't realise that.
Okay, but
There was only the ones that are,
they can if they want.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
But I understand that most of it was said the same as what had been.
Let's finish with the applicant first. So, Tony, do you have any questions of the applicant?
Thank you, Chair. Just the one. I understand from the applicant earlier on that there is nothing in this premises at present. The premises is empty. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's empty in the moment.
So can I ask, how reliant is the success of your shop going to be on having this license?
Could I step in there, Chair, possibly? So obviously the applicant has made a business decision to purchase this premises and to open it as a convenience store and then to apply for a premises licence to sell alcohol. So we have to consider that that is the applicant's business plan for that premises to have the alcohol, and they've made the application. So that decision has already been made prior to the application being put in.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. So there's no more questions from the subcommittee. Have we got any questions from officers? No. Okay. Have we got any questions from the public? And it's got to be either Jennifer, Rowan online, or Mark. Is that right?
Can I also just add that it's obviously just to clarify queries and that it's not to cross-examine obviously the applicant on anything. Okay. Just if there's any questions, just a clarification.
Thank you.
Chair.
If you'd like to come forward to the speaker.
Sorry, Chair, can I just add that Freddie also spoke, I think, and made a representation? So, yeah.
Thank you, Chair. It's hopefully not a pedantic point, but the condition saying about single cans of beer, lager and cider, does that apply to bottles of booze as well?
So we have to take what the condition reads, and obviously it says no single cans of beer, lager or cider shall be available. So obviously that was agreed with the police. It says the word cans. If I was going down to enforce that, I could only enforce that condition on cans.
Can we put that as a condition though, Olivia, as the licensing subcommittee? Change it to cans and bottles? Yeah.
You would have to make another condition, yes.
Okay, thank you.
That was going to be my
And
next
obviously be
request, Chair.
aware that obviously bottles, then if somebody wanted to purchase a bottle of wine, a full-size bottle of wine, you don't actually want to create a condition that would stop someone being able to buy a bottle of wine. So you need to carefully consider how you would word that condition.
Okay. What, so we don't, no, I won't say that.
But
Okay,
a
Mark.
bottle of beer, cider or lager is generally different size to a bottle of wine, which 75 centilitres. And also they would have to be marked, presumably with the place of origin, like we were already saying.
Again, that could be a condition that you could look at adding, but it's just to ensure that the condition is enforceable, clear and concise.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Anybody else got questions of the applicant? And this will be Freddie. Yep.
I think the single cans arguments is a bit of a red herring because people go out and if there's a group of kids, they'll just buy a pack and split it up out in the churchyard is what they'll do. I think echoing what the town council has said, I think a licence up to 8 o'clock is something we could live with. 11 o'clock that's you're right on the threshold of pub shutting and everything. It's not a good idea. So really that's it. If Ale, would be happy with that, I think we'd be happy with that as well at 8 o'clock.
Thank you. Thank you. Don't worry, we get feedback from you, Freddie, unless you've got some sort of device on than everybody else. Did Jennifer want to say something or ask a question of the applicant?
Just a couple of things. The incident log. So I would hope then that every incident is logged that happens either on the premises or just outside it. But then is there going to be another log for residents who have issues that may not meet the bar for being recorded? Likewise with the church. So I think it's a wider problem that may root itself at the church, at the shop, but actually has an overfill into the other areas. God, what's the other thing I was going to say? I should think of my opinion now. Oh yes, with the 11 o'clock, I think that's a moot point with a lot of us here. And whilst I also want to support business, and I understand that you've got a livelihood to make too, a trial for regular hours, and try that first. So not 11, but going to your normal shop hours for the sale of alcohol and seeing how that goes, and monitoring rather than going right the way through granting it and there being more problems that already exist in the area.
Thank you. And did you want to comment on those? Because Olivia, because there's a couple of things there I think brought up.
Thank you, Chair. If I just come in on that with regards to trials, so the licence is either granted or refused or granted with conditions, but under the Licensing Act, there's a mechanism for a review. So if a premises licence is granted and there are issues, then responsible authorities or other persons, which include residents, businesses, can actually apply for a review against the premises. And that would be where you would take the opportunity to reduce the hours, ask for additional conditions. So that would meet the trial, because we can either grant or not grant the licence. And then with regards to an incident log, the conditions are specific to the premises, so it would have to be within the licensable area, and obviously they wouldn't be able to include things that happened outside. It would have to be incidences on the licensed premise.
Thank you. And just to carry on from that, if somebody asked for a review, it would have to be evidence-based, or we'd have to bring some sort of evidence that would say we've got to review this licence. And also, incidents outside the premises, it's very difficult for them to do a log of things that happen outside. But of course, the recourse for residents would be to dial 101, or if it's very serious, 999. Okay, thank you.
I think from what you're hearing today is there are still a lot of issues in the area, and we are just adding to it. So,
yeah. Thank you. Yes, Rowan, did you want to ask a question of the applicant? So he's not had to answer much, to be honest.
No, indeed. Yeah, hi, Chair. Thank you. I guess my concern on this, I don't want to be obstructive to local business, and I definitely appreciate the position I have that you're in here, where of course you want to be successful, and I support you in that. What I would say is, in terms of the way that we're approaching this, going for the full license in the through to 11 p.m. And then rolling it back, involving the police, that are already obviously overstretched, seems kind of the wrong way to do this. And in terms of granting a license, I could absolutely live with a limited hours license, and I think that's probably the best route forwards here. But I don't think granting it through to 11 p.m. straight away, so going from 0 to 100, is how we should be looking at this.
Thank you. Just to confirm, the applied for, or the amended hours applied for, are 11 a.m. to, sorry, right here, 11 to
11 a.m. to 11 p.m. I believe.
The alcohol, yeah, and the shop itself 6 a.m. to 11. Okay, thank you.
But I mean, the starting point, right, would be Sunday to Thursday, reduced hours, and then obviously I'd like the same on a Friday and a Saturday. But I really think that in terms of the full license, it shouldn't be granted in its existing format.
Thank you, Rowan. Olivia.
So obviously, like I was just explaining, we do have the mechanism for a review. If the licensing hours were pulled back to 8 o'clock and it was agreed that would happen for 3 months, any changes to those hours would result in the applicant having to make a variation application, which again to the applicant is the cost for the application and advertising and potentially going through this process again. So we're looking at this application for these times for it either to be granted or not granted, or obviously for the committee to make the decision to pull the hours back, but then that would be how the licence would be granted.
Thank you. I suppose the only thing I'd say there is not that I'm saying we'll do either way. If we did do a review, say the hours had to be a certain amount and did a review, we shouldn't really be concerned about whether that costs the applicant more time or cost, which you were sort of implying.
If there's a review called, then there isn't the cost to the applicants. But if the hours were pulled back to a time that the applicant hadn't applied for, and then they wanted to go for later, they would have to apply again. It's just to sort of make you clear on that bit.
Thank you very much. Marcus.
Thank you. And I've forgotten the name of the legal ruling or the ruling that was, and just for clarification, and maybe someone can help me here, but there was a legal case where not granting something because of the fear of what may or may not happen. And I can't quite recall what that ruling was off the top of my head.
I haven't got that in my head either at the moment.
I think from my memory, Marcus, was that you can't base it on something that may or may not happen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I get your point. It's already happening.
Chair, we have a question.
Another question from the applicant.
Yeah, it's not so much a question, it's just relaying what you just said. I mean, the business plan has been laid out the best we could to kind of make these places a success, including the hours that we're looking for. I mean, I understand there are things in every single town that go wrong in every part of this town. It's not just in this one spot working in security. It's all over the town, including the taxi rank, car parks everywhere. So you can't pinpoint it to the one spot. I mean, I think the case is going by what ifs and maybes. I think the case would be is to everything is in place that we feel is professional enough to make this a success and make it an asset to the town and a security to all members of the town as well. Is to grant the applicant with the licence as is with a review, because at the end of the day, he's got to be given a chance to prove that he's professional enough to do this.
Okay, thank you very much. Have we finished with cross-examining the applicant? Yep. Thank you very much. Okay, we now move to the stage where we ask responsible authorities to sum up. There are no responsible authorities. That doesn't mean we're all irresponsible, I suppose. But, does anybody wish to sum up from the public? Just do a quick summing up. Do you want to do a quick summing up, or are you happy to?
I think in summary, it's been a very useful exercise. I think the town council, ourselves, myself and the residents would be happy with, could live with an 8 o'clock licence. And I appreciate, AIB's business plan perhaps doesn't call for that. But, the reality is, and the facts of granting a licence with the 4 conditions of public safety and the right to enjoy peaceful life and child safety and so forth, are not met by a full licence. Because the stuff is already happening with the late hours of the kebab shop, because people naturally want to gather and alcohol makes people hungry. So what do people do after pubs? They go to curry houses or they go to, a very successful kebab shop and things. And it is a focus for people. Once the pubs and clubs have shut, they go to the kebab shop on Fridays and Saturdays. And this is happening already, and it's already creating problem, noise and disorder. So selling alcohol until late, until 11 o'clock, would exacerbate what is already a very difficult problem that breaches all the conditions of granting a licence already. So it needs to be reined in. in our view. And, you know, I really wish Ayoub every success. I'm sorry we have to fight you on this, but it's just the way it is. We have a right to a peaceful life and we don't have one.
Thank you very much. Just quick, yeah.
To add in, obviously, that this has been a fascinating experience, and thank you. And I understand that you've been quite clear. This is either granting the licence as it stands or not. And I would like it not to be granted, but then I appreciate that you to put in a new proposal with different timings that might be more conducive to the surrounding area and the residents.
Thank you very much. We're going to invite now the applicant to sum up if they wish, and we'll go to Emily to see if she wishes to say anything as well. Do you wish to say anything, Ayoub?
Not say anything. I just about listen to license officer, respect for my neighbor, waiting for a decision, because I'm not gonna sell can, just a single can. I'm not gonna people sitting inside, but drinking inside or outside. I just about looking for people more town, just grabbing, and I go home, and I reckon that good for the town, for the people. Like, instead of gonna stay to 2 or 3 o'clock, and I early go home and peace in nice town.
Thank you very much. Did you wish to say anything?
Yeah, again, it's been a really interesting meeting, actually. Going back to the applicant, I mean, the business plan lays out this way. I mean, I know it's around the alcohol side of it, obviously. Working in the security in the town, 99.9% of anything that comes into town comes from the supermarkets anyway, bought well in advance. And the premises itself would be shut well before, in my experience, most of the big drinkers actually even hit the town. This culture of drinking has totally changed now in Frome, and the pubs and clubs don't even get busy until after 11 o'clock now. So that culture has totally changed. So I don't think this applicant, even though it's going to help the business plan and make the premises a success for the town and also giving employment to the town, I also feel that with the monitoring would be enough to make sure that it is as successful the whole time.
Thank you. Emily, did you wish to say anything?
No, it's already mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm now going to ask the licensing officer to sum up.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to say my part first, and then I think Alan's got a few final points at the end. So the licensing subcommittee must consider this application on its own merits and from the information contained within the application and the report. Members are reminded that the duty of the licensing authority is to take steps necessary to promote the licensing objectives in the interest of the wider community. The licensing objectives are as follows: prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, and protecting children from harm. It's worth remembering that the police didn't make a representation against the application, as agreement was had with the applicant prior to the end of the representation period. Figures were requested from Avon and Somerset Constabulary for crime stats in the area, but they were waiting to be signed off before they could be disclosed, and unfortunately that didn't happen before this meeting. The options available to the committee are as follows: to grant the application with no modifications and only attach conditions as required by the 2003 Act. These shall include mandatory conditions and conditions consistent with the operating schedule. Grant the application modified to such an extent that the licensing authority considers appropriate to promote the licensing objectives, or to refuse the application, giving its reason for decision. Should the committee be mindful to attach conditions to the licence, they must only do so if they are appropriate, necessary and proportionate, precise, clear and unambiguous, practical, realistic and enforceable, non-duplicative of existing statutory requirements or offences, modern and fit for purpose, And also consideration should be given to the number of conditions that are attached. The licensing authority recognises that most licence holders seek to follow the law, and any enforcement action will normally follow a graduated approach, and in the first instance would include education and support. Where the licence holder continues to flout the law or act irresponsibly, firm action will be taken. And of course, there is a right of appeal, where all relevant parties to the decision of the licensing authority have the right to appeal to the Magistrates' Court in connection with this matter, and this must be done within 21 days of being notified in writing of the relevant decision. That concludes my section. I'll pass over to Alan.
Thank you. Yeah, just one point of order really, Chair, and I think it's been raised already that Jill White, didn't actually make a representation. I think, however, that the action of what she said was similar to what the people that did make representations brought forward. So I don't see that as a problem, but it is just a point of order that I think the only person that spoke who hadn't made a rep was Jill, just to point that out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, but I was happy to hear Jill. Right, so what happens now is, in a minute, I'll just ask everybody to leave the room apart from the legal officer, a member of Democratic Services and the subcommittee, one of which is online, so we can make a decision. A decision will be made, if it's a difficult decision to make, we will let everybody know within 5 working days, the applicant know within 5 working days, everybody know within 5 working days, but hopefully we can make a decision today, in which case we will reconvene and give our decision once we've done that. You're welcome to wait, even though you have to leave the room. We shouldn't be more than an hour. Probably sooner than that, but maybe it depends how complex it is. Once we've gone through the legal things. Okay, and then the subcommittee's decision, including details about the right to appeal, which Olivia's already gone into, and the right to review will be sent in writing to all parties. Okay, thank you all very much for your time. I hope, in a way, you enjoyed the experience or found it interesting at the very least. Thank you all for attending. So if I could ask you to leave, you're welcome to wait downstairs if you want to. And if you do wait downstairs, we'll come and get you once we've made a decision. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Chair. If everyone will wait for me, I can show you where to go to wait. Before we go, I'm going to create a breakout room for the councillors who are online, and then we'll come back. So the public meeting is going to remain live with the breakout room. If when you see it pop up on your screen, if you could just go into the breakout room, councillors, please.
Thank you. Oh. You off?
Yeah, because we're going to go and sort out Alan's badge so you can have access around. Debbie, will you just go back to my desk and give me a call?
Yes.
Teams or message, and we'll come back over when we're ready.
You may or may not.
Yeah. I take that.
You get me one, Mark. Thank you. You can let us know, Debbie, when the breakout room is done.
Well, I can't find Tony's name.
I think I'm in the breakout room.
I can see you, Tony, but it's just whether or not everybody else is out of it. That's the thing, isn't it?
Did you accept it, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Hugh should be in there as well.
Are you in there, Hugh?
I'm going to switch the microphones off now.
Okay.
I'm still here. I don't know whether I should be.
No, you shouldn't, Rowan. I'll get.
Do I just leave and then add myself, and or can I be re-added in 5-10 minutes?
No, don't leave. We are going to a different room. I'm going to switch the microphones off. You won't hear us.
Okay, thanks.
I can see you, but I can't hear anything. Hello?
Can everyone online hear us?
I can now. Well, I could anyway.
Chair, we are live again.
Thank you very much. I think the applicant went for a coffee and hasn't reappeared. So we'll still go ahead with the decision if everybody's happy. He went for a coffee somewhere else,
He went out for a coffee, so he's not in the room and not in the building.
but Debbie will give him the decision anyway. Okay. Thank you all for attending again. I will briefly give our decision. A full decision notice will be issued within 5 working days, with the right to appeal within 21 days to the Magistrates' Court. The application is granted with all the conditions as per agreed by the applicant with the police, and the hours reduced as agreed by the applicant from 11 AM to 11 PM for the sale of alcohol. The full decision, as I said, will come out in writing within the next few days. Thank you all very much for your time. Sorry, I had to wait for that.